Okay, this loom has the right spacing for a number 4 yarn. This is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. This is the one we were practicing on. It's about 5 stitches per inch, so you would know how many pegs to use to make your scarf as wide as you want it to be. So when it's on the loom, it's going to be all stretched out, and then when you take it off, it shrinks up quite a bit. So I think that this is a good gauge loom, and so you see I put some markers on here. If you determine you want to use this number of pegs to get the width of scarf that you want, then you put some markers on there. So you obviously can use all the pegs, but you would have to have a stopping point to where you go up to that peg and back, and you're going to have a gap somewhere. So I would suggest, if you're going to use all the pegs on the loom, to mark the gap, put some string around it so you don't close that gap. But for aerial, I would make a big gap, like tie string around these 4 pegs and don't use those, and then you could work back and forth and make the scarf as wide as you want it to be. I'm just going to use 5 or 6 pegs today, so a good thing to do is put some yarn here so you know when you get there it's time to turn around and go back. So just ignore those because I'm going to just use 5 or 6 pegs. So tie a slip knot in your yarn and tie it around a peg or this little pin on the end or whatever. Just tie it on a peg you're not using. And then we're going to start doing the E-wrap cast on. So if you wrap your pegs this way, you see that bar on the front? You don't want that. So you know you need to go around the peg in a different way, like that. So it depends on which direction you're going. So if you're going from left to right across the loom, you need to wrap the peg clockwise, and vice versa when you're coming back in the other direction. But we're only going to do the E-wrap on the cast on. She's been using the E-wrap stitch on her scrubbies, and that is really a twisted knit stitch, but she and I practiced just now, and we're going to do just a regular knit stitch. And if you follow directions on YouTube for the knit stitch for the knitting loom, they come out too tight, so I'm going to show you what she needs to do. So let's just do, let's wrap a few pegs here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So just ignore this right here. We're going to untie this later when the knitting starts to grow. So now that I've got those 5 pegs wrapped, I need to come around that last one again so that I can have 2 loops on there. So I'm going to make my, this is what most people refer to as the U-stitch, because I came from the back to the front and back to the back again, and that gives you that nice loose stitch. So once I've done that, I pull that stitch over. Then I go to the next peg. I always hold the old one down, come to the front, go to the back on the new peg, pull that over. Come to the front, new peg. Okay, here's my old peg, and you can see where the yarn is coming off. That's the old peg. I'll hold that down, come to the front, go to a new peg. Come to the front of the new peg and then to the back. And if you'll do that always, you're going to end up with looser stitches, which is nice. You don't want your scarf to be too dense. If you just laid your yarn across the pegs like that and lifted the loops over, you're going to end up with really tight stitches. So you can skip the first peg, whatever's more comfortable for her to do. See, here's the first peg, or she's been skipping the first peg and going on to the next one, which really makes a nicer edge on your scarf, and it's called a slip in knitting terms. It would be a slip. So if you slip the first stitch of every row, you get a nicer edge. So whatever way she's comfortable with doing, you can go ahead and do every single peg every single time, but you can go ahead and just come to the front around the new peg and then just knit. So I tend to just hold it down with my hook like that, come to the front around the new peg, like this. But you don't wrap all the way around like we did with the E-wrap. You don't wrap all the way around. The E-wrap would look like this. You just come to the front and wrap the front of that peg. And then now it's time to turn around and go back. Come to the front, go back. Come to the front, go back. And then turn around and go back in the other direction, and I'll start with the second peg. So I skip the first peg. Whatever you want to do is fine. You can knit it if you want to. And so I think a little lap desk would work really good for this, so that she can, you know, have it at the right height. So as your knitting grows, it's going to drop down in the bottom. So once I'm finished knitting, let me pause the camera. Let's just say my little scarf is as long as I want it to be. Then we need to bind off. All right, the back stitch bind off is, I do it different than a lot of different people do, but I do it my way and it works, is a little bit stretchy like the E-wrap cast on, and that's mostly what you want. You don't want the bind off to draw in. So what I do is I'll measure about 4 times the width of whatever it is I'm working on, so I'll have enough yarn. So let me measure that out. And I usually do more just so you don't want to run out. So you cut the yarn, and what you want to do is we're always going to skip the first peg. So I'm calling this number 1 right here. I'm going to go in front of the second peg, and I'm going to reach under and pull that loop down and all the way out. Now here comes the back stitch. So now whatever the yarn is coming out and it's coming under this loop, that's peg number 2. So I need to go back. So this time I'm going to reach from the top to the bottom and pull this one up. So on this one I reach from the bottom to the top and pulled the loop down. This time I want to pull the loop up, so I'm going back to that first peg, pull the loop up and out. So now that stitch basically is ready to drop off that peg if I wanted to. So this time I'm going to move on forward, and I'm going to ignore this middle peg. I'm always going to skip one when I go forward. I'm going to go to a brand new peg, which is 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to reach under, pull it down. I'm going to go back 1 peg and then pull that loop upwards. Alright, got my thread stuck in there. So I'm done with that one. So now this is my new number 1, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip number 2, pull the loop down, go back, pull the loop up. So this is 1, 2, 3. Skip the middle one, pull the thread down, go back stitch, pull the loop up. Stupid thread. So that's 1, 2. So I only have 2 pegs left. So what do? This one came up, so I'm just going to go ahead and go down with this one. And then I can do that again if I feel like I need to. And then everything can come off of the loom now because they're all secure, they're not going to run. And this is going to look funny because I only did a couple of rows. But that's going to give you the stretchy backstitch bind off. And this was our E-wrap cast on. And then the edge is real neat when you skip the first stitch of every round, but I wouldn't concentrate on too much of that. If she can't remember that, she can just go ahead and knit all of the pegs on every row.